All right, so Unit 2, FRQA, I believe. So this problem, they give you a graph of one function, which they call f, and then they ask you questions about two other functions, g and h. So we're going to go ahead and do these problems. So I'm going to have to move this over because I can't see everything on the screen. Give myself a little room. There we go. All right. So we're going to start with part A. Function n is defined as f times g, and they want m prime of negative 1. So we would obviously use the product rule. So that would be f prime times g plus g prime times f. And then we want n prime of negative 1. So we're going to plug in negative 1 for all the x's. Now, when you look at this, f is given by the graph, right? So f of f prime of negative 1 would mean the slope of the curve at negative 1. Well, x is negative 1, it's right here. And it looks like the slope of that line segment there is negative 2. So f prime of negative 1 is negative 2. F of negative 1 is the y value of f. So that would be 6. And then g of a negative 1 and g prime of negative 1 can both be found using the g function. So when I plug in g of negative 1, I get 1 minus 5, which is negative 4. And then they want the cube root of that. So negative 4 to the 1/3 power. So I'm just going to write the cube root of negative 4. Could write negative 4 to the 1/3 power. That would be fine. And then I want the derivative of that. So I need to find g prime, which would involve the chain rule. And then I need to plug in negative 1. So that's again 1/3 minus 5. And then negative 1 here would be negative 2 plus 5, which is 3. So the 1/3 and the 3 go away. And basically that's negative 4 to the negative 2/3 power, which is the same thing as 1 over the cube root of 4 squared. And you could possibly do some more stuff with this, but I'm going to leave it like that. I didn't pay attention to see if it was a calculator or not a calculator problem. So part B, different function, also defined. So we're going to take the derivative. That's going to be the quotient rule. Low, d high, minus high, d low, over low low. And then they want p prime of 4. And just like we did before, we're going to look to the graph to get the values of f, and then look to the function g and g prime to get the values of g and g prime. So we have 5 times f of 4, which is 3, times g prime of 4, which is plugging 4 into this thing. Ugh. Let's just do that over here. So g prime of 4 is going to be 1/3 times 16 plus 20, which is 36, to the negative 2/3 power, times 2 times 4, which is 8 plus 13. That's lovely. So 13/3 times 36 to the negative 2/3 power. So much fun. Minus g of 4, which is plugging 4 into this thing itself. So that'd be 16 plus 36 to the 1/3, so the cube root of 36. Times 5 times f prime, and again, it's the slope at 4, so the slope at 4 is 1/3. All over 25 times 3 squared. And there's just a whole bunch of math here that I could work to clean up. I think I'm just going to leave it like that for right now. It's just a whole bunch of arithmetic. And then part C. I want to find the value in between -3 and 1 such that f prime equals h prime. So this is the first time we've used h. It's right here. This has got to be a calculator part, y'all, because this problem requires it. So h prime would be -7 sine x plus 3x squared. And then they tell you they want the interval from -3 to +1, right? So that is this line segment right here. And the slope all along that line is -2. So really what we want is to use our calculators to set these things equal to each other and solve for x. And then you get your answers, you want the value that's in that interval. And I'll leave that for you to do.